Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It's Thursday, November 20th. Time for some technology and efficiency. I see Joel and Henry are here. Henry just slid in through the door in the last couple of seconds. Joel was on time today. He gets a gold star. I'm here. I have heard a rumor that John Walco might be joining us today. I'm kind of excited about that. I love hearing from John. Miss having him on the show, so I'm looking forward to that. He said he might be a little late, but we might be hearing from John today. So let's just bring everybody who is here so far in. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
You know,
good morning.
This show, everybody just kind of slides in at the last minute. Sometimes I do too. There are times where I'm reading or making a note or something, and I look up and realize I got 30 seconds to get the show live. I used to go out to Fort Worth once a month and do the Midnight Trucking Show, and it's called the Midnight Trucking Show for a reason. Starts at midnight, and it was 5 hours long. It's all night. Yeah, and I would work all day. I was coaching high school wrestling back then. So I'd get up early, work all day, go to wrestling, come home from wrestling, get on a plane. I'd land in Fort Worth around, I don't know, it's like 9:30 or 10. I'd drive over to the parking lot and I would catch a nap in my car. And the guys would wake me up. They knew I would be in the parking lot. So when they got to the parking lot, they'd wake me up and we'd all go upstairs. We would be walking through the door with like a minute and a half to get on the air. Those guys had been doing it so long, that's what time they would show up. And then I'd do 5 hours of show overnight. Then I'd drive across town to Mark Willis's studio. He was on Sirius, it still is. He was on Sirius back then when it was Sirius NXM. And I would do 4 hours of his show, and then I would fly back home. But I always remember, because that was before I had my own show, how casual they were about just walking in with minutes left, if that, sometimes seconds left to get on the air. Now I do it all the time.
Well, Kevin, we make up for it on the other end because a lot of times we take part of Beckett's show.
That is correct. Good point.
So.
Good point. It all works out. It all works out.
Yeah, we put in overtime.
Couple things, Henry. Why is it? I love the whole NACFE program. I love what they do. I'm glad somebody finally has taken on that task. They put out great information. Why are the numbers always so hard to find? I just read an article this morning, and the whole point of the article was talking about the natural gas truck that's in the test right now. And they mentioned cost over and over and over, but never put any numbers in the article. They even said that natural gas lowered the overall cost, but gave no examples. Not a single number.
I have no earthly idea why.
They do this all the time, and it makes me crazy.
Youngster would probably know, and the which he's not on today, but the thought I had today is on the industry. We're talking about the same things just about as when I started in '83.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
I started thinking about definition of insanity, right?
Yeah. Well, I did learn something interesting from the article today, and I did a bunch of research on natural gas back in 2014 or 15, the year everybody was talking about it, and then it went away. And I remember reading an article where the maintenance cost was double. Now, one of the advantages they talked about with this X15...
I don't see why, but...
and they didn't explain it back then either, but they did say double. And that was from, isn't it Roush that builds all the natural gas? Aren't they one of the companies that build all the natural gas engines?
Well, oh, there was
Westport. Okay.
Westport, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Roush had some involvement, but what I couldn't figure out is, it's a gaseous fluid. They should have went and talked to the people at like Heister or something like that, because they figured that out on forklifts for years.
Yeah, well,
and the maintenance costs aren't double.
They made the point. Oh, John's here with us. let's just bring him right in. Now things will really get crazy. John, good morning.
Hi, guys. How are you? Sorry, I'm a little late.
Well, it's great to have you back.
Thanks.
And
it's off season.
Oh, good. All right. So maybe you can help me out here. I was reading the NACFE Run on Less Messy Middle, an article this morning about the X15 natural gas truck that's in the test. And we went through the whole natural gas thing once, and nobody liked it. It didn't seem to have much promise. This one kind of makes me a little crazy. They made the statement that even though it gets less MPGs, which makes sense, there's less energy in natural gas, the cost was more stable, and that's how the fleets would be able to lower their cost with natural gas, but they didn't put in any numbers. Well, the statement that natural gas is more stable is true now, but if we start using a lot of it on highway and it catches on, it's not going to be stable anymore. Diesel is volatile because it's the number one fuel in the world, and demand goes all over the board all the time. Plus, nobody ever wants to talk about the tax.
Right.
Once you put the tax on, it may not be cheaper anymore. I don't know, because they didn't put enough numbers in the article. But there was one thing interesting in there. They did talk about maintenance, and they said there was more scheduled maintenance, less unscheduled. So their claim is there is more scheduled maintenance that you'll do on a natural gas engine, but it will break down less. And primarily they were saying that because there were no emissions to break down. Well, they made there was a statement in there that said Cummins has aligned the spark plug change interval with the oil change interval. And the first surprise to me was I hadn't even thought about the fact that it had spark plugs. But it does. And why do you have to change them so often? I have a 20-year-old car with 150,000 miles. I've never changed the spark plugs. They're 20 years old.
Well, I get it. The age is a nit, but I mean, if you go 150,000 miles a year, you might have to do them once a year. I couldn't see doing more than that, but they do break down. So you know, the materials have gotten better and better, you know, with the electrodes and such. But you know, every time that thing sparks, one of them gives up an electron or two to what is going on there.
Yeah.
And they end up, you know, rounding the edges and whatever. And it's you know, they have a finite life no matter what.
I did a survey.
That life has gotten a lot longer with current technologies, but it's still a finite life. Yeah.
I did a survey this morning in Coffee with Kevin, and there were people that have had vehicles over 200,000 miles. And when they asked the dealer to change the spark plugs, they get a weird look.
Right.
Like but here's the other
thing
they didn't say.
Once they've been in that long, you don't want to take them out after they've been in that long, especially if it's a Ford. You know, they spit them out long before that. I've got a buddy with a V10 Ford pickup truck with a dent in the hood from it spitting a spark plug.
Really?
So, oh yeah.
Wow. That's fun.
Now
here's what they didn't
it's autonomous self-changing spark plugs.
Here's what they
yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
Here's what they didn't say.
That was a better idea. Yeah.
They didn't say what the oil change interval was. I'd like to know that. And I really have to change spark plugs every time I change oil? How big of a job is it?
Well, again, you shouldn't really have to change oil. I mean, again, that thing. But no, I guess what you get a lot of moisture, right? Isn't there like a lot of
the one
as I recall, there's a whole lot of moisture as a combustion byproduct.
You're exactly right.
The reading an oil sample for a natural gas engine is wildly different than reading one for a diesel.
Yeah,
all the contaminants are completely different.
It requires a specific oil,
right?
And you also have to remember the energy density isn't there, so they'll typically run at a higher RPM. You're not going to downspeed a natural gas engine like you do a diesel engine. So you're turning more revolutions per mile. So this is why they're talking about that maintenance cost is generally going to be higher, simply because you're turning more revs, and you don't necessarily have the lubricity in natural gas that you have in diesel fuel. So I'm assuming when they do this, they've got a different ring package, probably something different with the pistons and whatnot in that natural gas engine as well, being that it's spark ignited. So
when I looked at this in the past, everybody used the 6.8 mile per gallon baseline, and I don't know if NACD's using that to justify their numbers. And I just pulled up some stuff on it where even today, a lot of places are still using that 6.8 MPG baseline. Now, it used to be back in the day when you were first looking at this, that there was a 20% delta in efficiency between natural gas and diesel. And it was the opposite way of where we wanted it. Today, it's around 5 to 10% delta. It's 5 to 10% less efficient to run natural gas than diesel. Natural gas today, when you look at it in gallons equivalent, is slightly cheaper than diesel. I don't know if they're paying road tax. You may be exactly right.
Without tax.
There may be no tax on that.
Right.
And the infrastructure obviously is not there. The truck's going to cost you $30,000 to $70,000 more up front. I'm not exactly sure how they make this pan out. I would love to have Jansu on here and explain that, because I haven't dug into this really hard. We looked at it, probably when you were looking at it, Kevin, when we looked at it as a fleet, and there was no way in hell.
None, not even close. Right. It was, and here's my next question. Here's my next question.
Mm-hmm.
There's no emissions on this. That's why they say fewer breakdowns. Well, I also want to know, with how clean.
It still has a cat on it.
Yeah, they just said no after treatment emissions is what they said.
Yeah, but it's got to have a cat. It's yeah.
There wasn't enough details to know. But here would be my question. We know how clean these modern diesels are. A modern diesel with the emission systems, is it cleaner or less clean than a natural gas engine without the emissions? And if they're that close, why are we even looking at this as a fuel? What is the point of it?
Well, because we have a lot of natural gas.
We have a lot of diesel,
and then it makes sense for
the whole world's full of it.
It makes sense for like, okay, on a job site, I've seen there's a well that runs perpetually here, in the woods not far from my shop. It's got a little got a Ford Straight 6 natural gas engine that sits there and runs perpetually off of the natural gas it's getting for free out of the well.
That makes total sense. Yeah,
So it makes sense for shit like that. But the thing is, there's the energy density is the thing. You go on and on about natural gas or hydrogen or whatever, but it's just not there. It's not compact enough. It just doesn't work.
Right.
It's really simple. And yeah, you could, every now and then someone's going to come up with this. They're going to have this thing about this great hydrogen powered whatever. Hydrogen fuel cell as a range extender on some sort of EV is a kind of an okay idea. The rest of it, like I just don't get it. Like it doesn't matter.
When you look at the hydrogen trucks and that giant drum box they have behind the sleeper, they have to use cab overs, which I'm not against. I kind of like cab overs. I wish they would come back. But it just seems so
you're going to get me rolling here. I just got back from Europe. I've got stuff to talk about. I spent a month in Europe.
Good.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. So I think it's going to be a busy day today. I just want the details. Give us the numbers so we don't have to sit here and speculate. And I have to believe they're not putting out the numbers because there's some agenda. Because the numbers would tell the real story that we all seem to know.
Here's the other thing, Kevin. The numbers are, if you go to the NACD website, you can dig and get all that stuff out there. I think they do that to drive traffic. Kevin, just have Claude do it for you. Claude will get it all.
I already started it. In fact, it's running in the background. I don't know why it's taking Claude so long to figure this out, but I really do. I have it running in the background, but it's been running for like 30 minutes and I don't have a report yet. I'm wondering why. Might be another internet outage. I don't know what's going on. I had another thought. What was it? Just flew right out of my head. I have too many thoughts in my head is the problem. It'll come back. All right, somebody else. Oh, no. I'll just throw this one out because it's just an interesting topic and I'll get it out of the way. We are, again, going to test new options on hours of service. Most of the options they're testing sound like we're going back to what we had before they started all the messing with the hours of service. No big surprise there. Here's what everybody's fighting about, though. And believe it or not, OIDA and the truckload carriers, TCA, agree on this. They say, here's the problem with hours of service. And they're basically saying no matter what set of rules you come up with, their whole concern is that drivers will be coerced to use the rules to the shipper's advantage, and the drivers will just be taken advantage of. First off, why does OIDA care about that? I thought they were an
Kevin,
owner-operator association.
But
so as an owner-operator, nobody can coerce me.
I can tell you why they may be concerned about employee drivers being coerced. I don't think this is the reason why, but it probably should be why, because if they can coerce employee drivers, that is eventually going to drive down market rates for everybody. Not just
You're right.
the employees.
That's not their reason.
So
they don't.
Right, that's not their reason, though.
They're not that nuanced. Right.
I'm with you.
That's my reason.
Yeah, right.
They're not that nuanced. Right. Yeah. They're doing it because the majority.
Oh, here comes that word again, nuance.
Exactly. It's all about nuance.
Oh, my
Everything's
God.
gray. I know what my other thought was. Joel, you had to go through this when you looked at natural gas as an option in a fleet. What was Southwest Airlines? What was one of their really big advantages? They did so much better than every other airline. And it wasn't the seating thing. That was a big one too. They had one other thing that kept their costs so much lower than everybody else's. They basically flew one kind of plane.
Oh, yeah, right, yes.
Their entire fleet was one airplane. And you look at the legacy carriers, and they have 37 different models of airplanes in their system. And it's a mess. and this would be the same thing. Trying to switch a fleet over to this would be a nightmare.
Yep. Hey, Kevin, I've got something for you that you're gonna love this on the natural gas thing.
Yeah.
So it's got this big chart. It's got a list of all the emissions, and it's going through everything. And it's got ultra low NOx diesel, which is the 2024 EPA, the spark ignited natural gas Cummins, and then a HPDI natural gas Cummins or Kenworth. So it says when you look at the baseline emissions, the old spark ignited natural gas was 10% worse than a diesel. Because they have methane slip, and they think that the new ones are going to be 5 to 10% better. They think, but they're not sure. And I wasn't aware they had so much methane slip on these natural gas engines. They put out a bunch of methane. I'm kind of shocked.
So I don't agree with, but I understand the push towards electric for emissions, but the diesels are so clean now. Our cars are pretty darn clean. And I get it. Electric still produces emissions, but it's in one place. I can see that. There's an argument to be made. I don't like the way we do it with tax breaks and all the other stupid stuff, but I don't understand the natural gas at all. If it's not significantly better for emissions and it's still a bunch of vehicles running around putting out some sort of emission, what's the point?
Someone's making money off of it. It's that simple.
That's got to be it. Right.
Yeah.
So I talked to a guy at UPS, and he's since retired, so I'll go ahead and throw this out there because he can't lose his job over it. But he told us, he said, we do this because we have the money to blow and it looks good, for
that's
public
exactly
relations.
Right. I believe.
That's why they done it. Yep.
That I believe.
Yep. He said, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. He said, you will go bankrupt. That's what he told us, flat out.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I've always thought that was probably the case.
That's exactly what, and this gentleman was very high up the pecking order, and he's like, do not touch this. I'm going to do you a big favor. Don't touch this shit.
Let's think about who did switch to natural gas. All the people who get to spend our tax money on it. the post office, the city
Of course.
buses,
Of course.
right? It's not their money. They all say, "Oh, look, we burn natural gas. We're so much better for the environment." Yeah, you're not very good for my tax bill, though.
Wait.
I'm paying for all this.
Oh, wait. You're telling me that the post office doesn't run a tight ship?
Yeah, look, they turn profits quarter after quarter after quarter every day.
Yeah. Speaking of them, I read an article. They're significantly raising their shipping rates this year. I'm kind of torn about that. They should raise the rates so they stop burning my tax dollars. But it's the only reason we ship packages with the post office is because they're cheap.
Well, you're getting something for your money then.
Exactly. That's kind of my justification.
It probably more than covers the percentage of your tax dollar that goes to that.
It does.
The money you're saving.
It does.
So, yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah,
Right.
why not?
I just adds to the deficit, but who's counting that?
Exactly.
Wait, I just thought of something.
That's for my grandkids or great grandkids to deal with. Yeah.
That's right.
Everybody's on my ass for the driver exploitation thing. Here's the post office enabling driver exploitation because they're artificially keeping rates low. How about that?
That's exactly right. Speaking of that issue, we have
cabs, damn it. Yeah.
We have another illegal truck driver arrested for an immigration violation. He had 5 different driver's licenses on him.
Wow.
He's not even
Oh,
here
they're old
legally.
school, aren't they?
Not even here legally, and he managed to get 5 different driver's licenses.
So they had a guy get on that's from one of these driver advocate groups, and I sent you links to a couple of them for the Punjabis, but this guy was from Uzbekistan or something, so not the same support group. But they get a guy on there that says, "Oh, it was completely legal," and he explained how he went from one class to the other to the other to the other. The problem is if you have 5 licenses, typically when you get your license renewed, they either clip a corner or they punch it and they stamp it invalid. So you can't use that license. My understanding is he had all 5 licenses there,
active,
and none of them were punched or stamped or anything.
They
so
were all
that
technically
you
active.
You can't do that. Yeah, right. So it's hard to know what the truth is, but it sounds to me like this guy legitimately had 5 licenses he was not supposed to have.
Yeah, and by the way, he was from several of these in the news this last week have been from Uzbekistan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just to comment on that,
wonderful,
that you sent me, back when all the protests were going on COVID, and there was always something that drivers were trying to protest and shut down. This group was probably by far the most effective I saw at getting anything done.
Isn't it fascinating? It's fascinating to me that you can bring people over from India and they set up an association, a driver advocate that blows everything out of the water that we do. And I'm sitting here looking at stuff and I'm wondering, why are these guys able to do what they can do? Right here is why, because they know how to do this stuff. It is fantastic that driver. They are very, very. It is a first class step, no doubt about it. Now, it pains me to say that
me too.
We don't have something very similar to push our point of view to kind of equal. But we're going to get steamrolled with this shit. When they're organized like that, we're sitting ducks. I mean, they're just going to roll right over us and get damn near whatever they want because they're organized and they're effective.
Yeah. Yeah,
and they're not making stupid demands. They lay out very precisely what they're looking for. They're laser focused on it. It's not black smoke matters and flipping people off out on the state capitol or out on the nation's capital. They've got a professional, effective organization that really, truly kicks ass. And I don't like it. Well, I don't want to say I don't like it. I'm just disappointed that we can't get our shit together and do something similar.
My same feeling. I came across them during COVID and all that was good. And the more I dug, the more I was thoroughly impressed with what they had accomplished. But disappointed at the same time that clearly it can be done because they're doing it. And yet the American drivers don't even come close. That's sad to say.
No, we want to fight about just just dumb, stupid shit. We squabble amongst ourselves while they get organized and they take care of business. They've done an excellent job with what they've got there. I was totally impressed with it as well.
Well, we sit around saying somebody needs to do something.
Right.
Well, here's every time I would, because I would challenge these groups all the time, these protest groups. We're going to go to D.C. We're going to shut down the belt. I would always try to get them on the air. The first challenge was finding the person who could come on the air and talk intelligently about what the group was actually planning to do. And that's when I realized here's their biggest problem. There's no good leader.
Yes.
There is no single good. They're all fighting about who the leader is. Or when I ask them about that, like I don't see a clear leader in this group. Oh, we have co-leaders. We're all sorry, that doesn't work. You don't lead by committee.
No.
You just don't.
So,
And that's when I knew they had a big problem.
The other thing that those groups, what I notice is that gets on my nerves with that is if you do agree with them, you can't agree with them enough.
Yeah.
Like they still want to argue with you. It's like I'm arguing. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
No.
They still want to
I'm like, no, I agreed with you.
Yeah.
The one thing that I also noticed with these groups, they get really pissed, Kevin, when you take them to task.
Oh.
And I've learned this a long time. And John and Henry, I'm sure you're going to agree with this. You know, kind of how I kind of honed my skill was I would take stuff to my brother and sister-in-law, and they would just grill me and torture me, kind of like you do these, you know, and just rip me apart on it. So then you knew, okay, I better sharpen skills here and get better because I know what's coming. And you're kind of the forge to temper the steel, so to speak. You know, if a group wants to come in and you're able to take them apart that easily, they don't stand a hope in hell going up against, you know, Congress or sitting in one of those meetings. I mean, Jesus Christ, come on.
That's exactly. You know what I was called when there was a petition started against me because I took one of these groups to task, and the petition made it all the way to the vice president of talk at Sirius at the time. They were trying to get me kicked off Sirius. You know what they called me? Because of the way I conducted the interview, they called me a bully. He's just a big bully.
Look out now.
Yeah, they called me a bully.
You big bully.
They even used that word in the petition.
So
the petition to get me off the air actually said I was a bully.
They should have been paying you for your services. Really?
Right.
No, really. I mean, seriously.
Well,
they
Joel,
should have paid you to come in and pick them apart like that.
In all seriousness.
Yeah, well, then they would have called him an extortionist.
In all seriousness, my point in the beginning was I will not get involved in these groups, not directly, because they're a disaster. And I just don't do that stuff well anyway. I don't play well with others. But my point was, I can help you do this better if you'll let me. And that really was my point, to help them understand you can't create a list of 27 demands. Let's just start there. And please stop using the word demand. Right. Nobody responds well to that. And get focused. Pick the one issue that's really important and figure out how to move the needle on that one issue and then go from there. And it really was my point to help them do this better.
I'm dumbfounded, Kevin. You're saying that if you don't guarantee me a wage and guarantee me broker transparency, and I threaten to starve everybody in the cities and kill everybody in the hospitals because I'm not going to deliver their drugs, that's not effective? Are you kidding?
It was just my opinion. You know, it's just an opinion, but I thought I might have been on to something.
Yeah, I suppose your average soccer mom's going to respond very well to a threat like that. You know what I mean? You're going to starve her kid and kill her grandparents. You know, I mean, come on.
Well, let's be clear, because as that soccer mom is listening to this story on the news in her minivan, and she looks in the mirror, and the only thing she can see on that truck is the license plate. because it's 2.5 feet
Right.
off her back bumper. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
Are you kidding? I didn't think she could see the license plate. I thought she'd be able to see
The
Hood
grill,
ornament.
yeah, it depends on how our mirror's adjusted, but you can't
Jesus.
see much. Yeah. So, all right. I know I'm all over the board today, but I have one more, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. We need to stop telling this lie in the industry. And I will be the first to admit I told it for about a year or two myself. It's a complete lie.
Uh-oh.
It has. Oh boy.
Which one are you going to? The parking shortage or the driver shortage?
Neither one. Those are big lies too, but everybody's at least talking about those being lies. Nobody is talking about. You guys have no idea what goes on in my studio sometimes, and I can't even describe this one. This is a pretty wide angle.
You need more
camera,
transparency.
Here's the lie. Now there's even a group. Hi, I'm Kevin Rutherford. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe or leave a comment below. It really helps us get the show out to more people. If you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, you can sign up with the link below.